Good morning, everybody. Exciting conference until now. Good to see so many people in the room. I'm from Grundfos, and I'm in our big data lab where we do analytics and AI. And the goal for my presentation is that you learn how Grundfos live the change we are in, and also that you learn something about how we combine what we call fair Q, which is our way of doing data management, with our core function that helps us scale the effort. Grundfos, we support UN Sustainability Goal number 13 and number 6. Number 13 on the Climate Act, because we come from the pump industry, and actually 10% of the world's electricity consumption goes into pumps, which means that when we can reduce energy consumption of pumps, we have a major impact of the carbon dioxide footprint in the world. So that's nice to know when you go to work in the morning. Number 6, that's about water and sanitation. There's actually a lot of people in the world that does not have access to clean drinking water. There's a lot of people that does not have access to sanitation, which means that a lot of children below 5 actually dies every year. So that's also something that is really close to our heart to support. And what we heard earlier in the morning about sustainable AI, what I think about when I hear sustainable AI is also how can we do sustainable impact in the world together with making economic impact so we can fund the next level of sustainability impact. That's really close to what we do. So it's not only about how do we govern AI, it's also about what do we do with AI. And my slides is slipping a little bit, so I need to move this one up. So I co-created this slide with Henrik Hjortberg. So I will show it here again, because we are in this limbo, right? We see a chief data officer earlier this morning. We see about IBM having a big tool coming in place. So I can put my people's effort into building really strong data management, really strong data governance. And then I'm ready to launch, then I'm ready to fire, then I'm ready to develop all the value. Or I can go to the other side. I can work on how do I do every single pilot so I get some analytics out to the water utility that helps reduce leaks and save drinking water. And I can then put all my effort into doing some of those. But then I will not get the platform, then I will not get the fundamentals in place. So how should I actually balance that? That's why I called this presentation Balanced Data Management. I'm very sure that some of you also see this challenge. So how to think about this? How to go about this? Well, in Grundfos we put up this nice picture about we have our core company, the business we do today. Then we need to add some digital on top of that to help shape the future, create the digital transformation of the company. And then we will by doing that we'll move into a new core, the new way of operating the company, the new digital offerings, more efficient company. But how does that new core really look like? Can we sketch that up? Can we draw that up very clear? That's really difficult to do because we don't know exactly, and it's a moving target. So what we want to focus on is actually how to get there, how to set up that engine, how to put that in place, so we in a more safe way can go in that direction. And what is in that engine is this balanced innovation where we want to combine putting up the platform and doing the pilots, not completely. But take one pilot at a time, one use case, learn from that, put that into the framework of the basics, and then build step by step. Okay. So who needs to work on improving data quality? Well, we hear a lot of roles, how they are put in place. They play in different parts of the data value chain. I think it's really important to think about how they intersect, how do they need to work together. I put up an example here where we have the data scientist. They are important because they understand what is the use of the data, and by that they can actually articulate what is the requirements to the data to have the good data quality. We have the business functions. Okay, they are really important because they create the value, right? So they need to say what is the next step we need to do in our business, and then we need to support that. So they are also impacting what is really the good data quality we have. Then we have what I call the Fair Q forum. Fair, that means findable, accessible, interoperable, and reusable data, and Q is then the good quality of that data. So that forum is a group of people that goes across the company from different functions that then helps building the guidelines. they also needs to be in place, and they're really building the fundament of being able to scale what we do. And then there's this trick about who in my core organization that are already in place and already emerged and go across the organization can I use to emerge better data quality management. And I found some really good friends in our quality function, because we come from manufacturing, right? So quality is really important in manufacturing, because they need to go into every single piece of the process. So if I can get them to help me do data quality, then I will be able to emerge data quality in every single process we have already. So they're good friends. Okay, creating the new digital offerings. We do that based out of our digital transformation office. That's an important place, because we put people together from different functions, so they work together in that team. So the physical presence, that's important. But it's also important to understand how to help people think about collaborating, working together, intersecting. This is about how do you understand the good data quality. So that was the data science part. Really about what are you going to use the data for defines what is the quality of the data that you really need. And we found this was really interesting to see IBM also have streaming data part of the platform they show there, because that's really a gap we found in our data management and data governance, that the streaming data coming from our devices, from IoT devices, data governance and management on that one was not really in place. So that's one of the big gaps that we are trying to close here. And the way we talk about, you can talk about lineage. That's really a data science, data management vocabulary. So if we talk about data lineage and go to one of the business functions, then they don't really grasp it, right? So talking about, I started talking about data supply chain instead, because supply chain, everybody in the manufacturing company understand what is a supply chain. So when I talk about that, then they understand, okay, it goes from step to step to step, and you need to put data quality in place in all the steps. So some of these small tricks about how to articulate it is also really important. Okay, then about this fair queue form. So there are many things we need to put in place. We put it as this umbrella, because then we can have the group of people working with these elements talking together in one network, the community. It's about the data catalog, so we can register the data. It's about creating good data quality reports, also on the streaming data. It's about data process management, so putting the processes in place that describes how we actually work with the data. And it's about the data quality assessment method, which is, there's a lot of methods out there when you look at business warehouse data, when you look at CRM data. But on the streaming data, we found it a little more difficult. So we put some of those methods in place, and developing those methods and scaling them throughout the company, that's part of what this fair queue network actually does. So managing our data foundation, it's a different approach to putting a chief data officer in place, and then have one central role to organize what needs to happen throughout the company. We try to work both from the top and from the bottom. I say from the bottom, what do we need to put in place? We need to have people that work daily with data management in the different functions, and we need them to talk together in a very structured way. So that's and then they can create guidelines. Then they can make recommendations. They really know, right? They're in the ditches every day. They can make the recommendations, and then we can make the decision, make it a policy from the top. Just a few words on this data quality assessment method, because it's really about finding those small bits and pieces, try them out, understand if they work, tweak them, tune them, make them really work, and then be able to scale it. And this one is, we started really from scratch on these streaming data and tried to figure out how can we assess a quality method. The target was not so much to hammer people, that your quality is not good enough. The target was really to flip the responsibility of good data quality. Take it from the people that use the data, from the data scientists. You need to wrangle, you need to clean up, you need to improve the data quality, and put that responsibility to the function that actually creates the data. right? But how can you do that if they don't understand about data? So we needed something to bridge. That's a good tool to be able to explain, this is the problem, this is what you can do about it. It's your responsibility. So this six-step method really helps us do that. We need to identify the stakeholders, the responsible person who will find it, map the data models. That's where the data scientists come into play to map the data models. Assessment, then do an assessment method where we actually work together. Then hand over the report to the identified persons. That means hand over to the identified persons that can actually do something about the data quality. And then delegate to the persons that will actually improve the data quality. And it comes all the way down to creating a spreadsheet with questions, so we can actually score from 0 to 12 on every single element of data quality, meaning that this conversation goes from we need better data quality to exactly no, it's about the labeling or it's about the completeness of the data. And this is, let's see, maybe it looks like a boring slide, but for me, maybe this is actually the coolest slide I'm bringing here. Because what it shows is that this is an old-fashioned product development process, waterfall, step by step. Okay, who wants to do that today? We want to do agile, right? We want to be really fast. But this is what we have in our core business. This is how we operate. This is how Grundfos does product development. Then we can tweak it, do it a little more agile. So how do we go about helping the people working with these processes to be more data literate, to understand where to put in data quality management, to understand where to put in the data quality assessment, and really create better data? Because what happened before was that there was a requirement, the product that you develop and will be produced should produce some data, and it should be a high quality product that does not break down. But what about that requirement about, so what should the quality of the data that product produce actually be? That's a key question, right? When we want to go from being a product company to being a service company that derives the service out of that data. So what we did here was taking that data quality assessment method, working with our group quality function that really understand that process, understand where in that process can we put that assessment in, where do we need to understand, who do we need to engage with? I'm getting caught up here. Who do we need to engage with, and how can we then massage that into that process? Taking in the learnings from the data scientist of what is good data quality, what is it going to be used for? See, because that's also a key point. Before you have the use of the data, how on earth can you actually explain what should the data quality be? Well, that's kind of the definition. So we need all of that to work in parallel. And that's also why I strongly believe in this step-by-step approach where we learn from the use case and then build the framework. Because then we can actually get that learning from the data scientist into the quality assessment. We can get the data out of the products. We can start creating the value, and we can have that loop up and running. So, sorry about that. That was it, folks. Come and talk to me afterwards. I will also be in the corner with the Daradox booth. So if anyone wants to co-create a little bit today, I'm ready for that.
Thank you.